Hey everyone, it's Sebastian here from Noble Frugal Studio, and today we're going to take a look at Clip Studio Paint. So first of all, what is Clip Studio Paint? Clip Studio is basically a digital art app for drawing and painting. You guys have probably heard about Clip Studio before, but this thing has some seriously powerful features for making all kinds of digital art, whether it be illustrations, comics, you name it. Prior to making this video, I heard that Clip Studio had some 2D animation features as well, but I just assumed back then that it was just some flipbook and onion skin feature tacked on at the end of the program. So it wasn't until Clip Studio reached out to me to sponsor this video that I really looked into what this software has to offer animation-wise. And guys, I was completely wrong. Apparently, there's a fully featured 2D animation software packaged inside this monster of an illustration app. So today we're going to check out the 2D animation features of Clip Studio Paint, or CSP, and give it a spin to see what we can create. This video is sponsored by Clip Studio, so huge thanks to them, and let's get started. First, I'm going to show you guys the brush engine in CSP. And at the core of every great 2D animation software is a decent brush engine. For all of my illustration purposes, I'm used to using a free program called Krita. Krita has really good brush mechanics, but compared to this, Clip Studio just completely knocks it out of the park. Right now I'm using an XP Pen display tablet, but the way my lines are coming out, it's like I'm using a Wacom or something. They're very straight, not a lot of jitter, and most importantly, the tails of the lines don't have the shoelacing problem that I'm used to in any other program. Now that's not the fault of the programs, it's really just the pen tech of the tablet. Clip Studio makes up for that and makes this tablet feel like I'm drawing on a Wacom or a Sense Labs tablet. So that's really cool. Sketching and drawing feels really, really good. So this right here is the default sketch brush. You have this mechanical pencil here. I don't tend to use this one because when you draw really lightly, nothing really shows up. Or it shows up really, really light, which is kind of how mechanical pencils are. So I tend not to use this one, but I got this custom brush from the asset store. It's an animator only brush, so I'll leave a link to it in the description, but I've just fallen in love with this thing. It draws pretty dark, but I really, really do like the way that this brush feels to sketch with. So these are just the sketch brushes, but you also have paint brushes, which you can use. I'm going to set this to different color. So this right here is an oil paint brush, and if you notice as I'm painting, you can see the texture of oil paint on a canvas. So we have thick oil paint, which when you put it on the canvas acts like oil paint, which is really nice. You got a lot of that organic texture you usually don't get with digital art. One of my favorite things is this watercolor section. Let's do a wet wash. Wow, look at that. It may be a little intense on your system, depending on your computer specs. But as you can see, as I'm drawing, the paint interacts sort of like it's real watercolor. Since brushes in most other programs sort of work kind of like stamps that just repeat themselves, I'm not used to having something that interacts like this, so I'm looking forward to it in the future, using more of this feature. Okay, so a great brush engine is something that I can easily get lost in on its own. The next feature I'm going to showcase to you guys is the integration of 3D models for reference in Clip Studio Paint. Look, there's so much to show you guys. I'm trying not to waste your time. The one thing I'm going to focus on today is the customizable characters for 3D for reference. You'll probably have something like this on your screen, which is your quick access functions. You have undo, redo, scale, rotate, but we're gonna go down to the second folder right here. And here are the Clip Studio assets. I'm gonna go down to body type, and as you can see, you have these different body types. By default, you're gonna have these four right here, but I made and customized some other ones. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. I'm gonna drag this 3D drawing figure into the canvas, and boom, we have a figure. Now notice that we're on the operation tool, and if I click and drag, I can rotate around this figure. If I scroll the wheel, I can change the FOV. Right click, I can zoom in, and if I click the mouse wheel, I can pan. So I'm just gonna position the figure somewhere where I can see all of him. You can pose this figure, you can move around any part of the body that you want. They also have an entire library of poses you can use. So if you come down to pose, you can just click and drag one of these onto the figure, and then you've applied a pose to them. So if you're ever looking for inspiration for poses, you can just drag one of these in along with all your other references. Really, really nice. You can also grab one of these hand poses and drag them onto your figure to pose their hands as well. So that's really cool. What's even cooler than that, if I click on this figure and I come down to adjust body shape and size of 3D drawing figure in detail, now I can edit this drawing figure's proportions. So say I had a cartoon character, I'm gonna drag this head to body ratio lower, so now he's sort of more of a chibi looking character. I'm gonna drag this slider and make him a little skinnier. And then you can actually go in depth and select each of these components like the torso, make them shorter or taller by adjusting these settings here. Now, I'm trying to be quick with this because this just goes so in depth. A lot of cartoon styles, the hands are really big, so we can do that here. I'm gonna adjust the head to body ratio just a little bit. There we go. So, and if we wanna make the legs really short, we can do that. We can just drag this down. Or we can make the legs really tall. So I'm gonna leave them at about average. You can take the head, we can make it really wide, really skinny, all that stuff. So world of possibility for this. I think this is really good for the initial phase of character design. If you're just looking for an overall idea of the proportions of your character, this is really, really decent for figuring that out. I'm gonna delete this model that I have right here. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna try to make a custom figure for my character Pi. So I'm gonna drag in some reference. I'll put this underneath the 3D view. Then I'm gonna scale it down. Decrease the opacity. All right, awesome. So I'm going to go to this folder. I'm gonna grab the 3D drawing figure version 2. Drag it in here. Oops, I dragged a little too far away. Let's drag it right on one of these squares. There we go. And I'm gonna try to take Pi's proportions and put them on a model. Okay, now I've made my cartoon reference model. I'm just gonna hit register material. I'm gonna name this Pi. I'm gonna choose to save it in 3D body type. Actually, let's do character. And this Pi underscore ref. Save it in character and hit OK. All right, now when we go to character, we have pi.ref available. If I drag that in, it's its own customized model that we can use for reference. And even if you customize a model, you can still use the default poses that they provide with the program. You guys get the point. Really, really good for reference, especially if you're developing characters and you want an idea of what their proportions are gonna be like. Really quick way to get those down, and then you have an idea. Okay, now what you've all been waiting for, let's check out Clip Studio Paint's animation features. Although everything we just went over are technically animation features, since 2D hand-drawn animation is, well, hand-drawn. Okay, so what do we have in CSP for animation features? If you guys want a Clip Studio Paint animation tutorial, let me know in the comments and by hitting the like button. So in Clip Studio Paint, you have a typical frame-by-frame functionality. So if we take this layer that we're on right now, hit new cell, we can start drawing just like any animation program. So I'm gonna select black. Let's do the typical bouncing ball. Then I select the next frame, new cell, I can draw another frame. I can also put onion skin on here and make a new cell. Okay, so you have your typical animation features that come with any program, onion skin, creating new frames and drawing on them, all that good stuff. Now what you can also do in Clip Studio Paint is use keyframes. So say I wanted to make that same bouncing ball animation I just made. Instead of drawing it, I'd rather just use the same drawing. I can enable keyframes, make one here. So you can completely use keyframes to animate as well. I was really surprised when I found out you could do this in Clip Studio because it opens up so many possibilities for different types of animation, and in general is just an extremely useful tool. You can also import sounds onto your animation timeline. Just click and drag any MP3 file onto the canvas. Don't click and drag it onto the timeline. As you can see, you get the cancel symbol. Click and drag it onto the canvas and boom, it's imported. You can see the audio waveform here, it's in blue. You can click and drag the audio to move it around and time it however you want. You can also have multiple layers of audio. So if I come up to animation, a new animation layer, audio, now I have a brand new layer I can put more sounds on. So far MP3s work when importing them, but I haven't been able to get WAV files to work. When I import them, they're just blank. So I'd recommend using MP3 files if you're gonna import audio. You can also use a 2D animation camera in Clip Studio Paint, which once I found out about that, I was like, phew, I'm glad, because a lot of programs, paid programs, forget to add a feature like that. And it makes programs like OpenTunes really shine, because it's like, wow, this program's free and it has that animation feature. So I'm gonna go up to Animation, New Animation Layer, 2D Camera folder. Then I'm gonna drag the folder that contains the bouncing ball I just made into that 2D Animation Camera folder. So now I'm on Camera 1 Transform. I'm just gonna add a keyframe. With the operation tool, I can zoom in. Then if I go to a different frame, I can zoom out. So now we have our camera moving like so. And if we want to view what's in our camera, we can go to Animation, Playback Settings, Render 2D Camera. So now when we hit play, we see the view of our camera zooming out from the bouncing ball. Super cool, and I'm so relieved that this feature is in Clip Studio Paint. Honestly, I thought that this was gonna be the thing you were going to have to sacrifice coming from a program like OpenTunes into a painting program. But no, Clip Studio Paint has some seriously robust animation features as well. Finally, the thing that makes me very, very happy is that Clip Studio Paint has GIF and MP4 export. Come to File, Export Animation. You can export as an animated GIF, as an image sequence for compositing in a separate program, an animated sticker, which I don't know what that is, and a movie, which is an MP4 or AVI file. Whoa, look at that. You can also export this as an OpenTunes scene file. Guys, this is the first time I've ever seen this, and I did not know that you could do that. So I'm gonna have to try that in a video. Let me know in the comments if you guys wanna see that. Wow, seeing that a program like this recognizes OpenTunes' existence, that's huge. That's huge to me. OpenTunes has come a long way, guys. Okay, so using all the things we just discussed, let's make some animation. Let me clear everything here. I'm going to reference the pie model we made as I work on this animation. Okay, so while I'm working on this animation, I thought I would give you guys my concluding thoughts on Clip Studio Paint's animation features as a whole. Now, first, some background. I want to make clear that Clip Studio Paint is paid software, and it's probably the first paid software or at least art software that I've ever featured on my channel. You guys are so used to me using free programs, Krita, OpenTunes, and I even use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos. So this is somewhat new territory for me. So the version we're using today is the EX version. There's two versions of Clip Studio Paint that you can buy. Clip Studio Paint Pro is $50 and the EX version is $220. Now the Pro version has all the illustration features we went over and much more, because there's just so much I couldn't get to. In the EX version, you can make animations as long as you want instead of being limited to 1 second of animation like you are in the Pro version. Free software is basically sort of the motif of my channel. So some of you may think that Clip Studio Paint comes off as pretty expensive for what it offers, but it's kind of the opposite. It just shows you how much of a gem softwares like OpenTunes and Krita are, because animation softwares are really, really expensive. If you want a license for TV Paint, you're looking at $500 for the standard version and $1,200 for the full set of features premium version of TV Paint. That's insane. And Toon Boom has a monthly payment system. It's $25 a month for Toon Boom Harmony Essentials, that's the most basic version, and $117 per month for the full set of features in Toon Boom. So compared to those guys, Clip Studio is insanely cheap, and the animation features that it has really, really pack a punch. I'm using Clip Studio on Windows, and for Windows and Mac, the licenses that you buy at those prices, $50 and $220, are perpetual license, which means that once you buy it, you own the program forever. You don't have to keep paying monthly or yearly. As for my thoughts on the program itself, it's fantastic to use. I love the performance. It's very snappy. Moving and transforming objects has no lag. It's very fast and responsive, which makes the drawing workflow go a lot faster and feel a lot more premium. The brushes in this program are better than any brushes I've used in any program before. They're fantastic. One of my favorite features is the record time-lapse feature, which is actually what you're looking at right now. It's great for content creators because it creates a clean time-lapse output for your video. So you don't see the camera rotating at light speed. You don't see me zooming in and zooming out and doing all these crazy things. It just records the actions that you did on the canvas. and it looks really good. In fact, I was able to set the video to multiply in my video editor and put a paper texture under it to make it look even nicer. So in conclusion, I think Clip Studio Paint is a fantastic app for drawing, painting, animating. It's a great upgrade if you're using OpenTunes and Krita for your animation and illustration needs, especially if you do hand-drawn frame-by-frame animation like I do. Clip Studio handles animation and illustration really well. Feels great to draw, sketch, paint in. I can highly recommend this software. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you thought this video was helpful. If you guys want to see more Clip Studio Paint videos, be sure to leave me a comment and a like so I know. Huge thank you to Clip Studio Paint for sponsoring this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Happy animating, y'all. Peace.